Hey YouTube, welcome to another beer blog with Ichiban. I'm starting a new sub-series here called the Lager series. Now my reason for doing this is because a lot of times us beer snob types, beer aficionados that likes to try different beers tend to gravitate towards beers with huge robust flavors and high ABVs, and sometimes we forget about the lagers. Sometimes. And it wasn't until recently that I started trying some lagers, because before I only went for darker stuff and then wheat beers and all that. But a couple years ago I started trying some lagers and I was like, oh, there's actually some really flavorful ones or some really good ones, and some people actually experiment with lagers. But in this sub-series I would like to share with you some of the good lighter beers that I've had, and especially for some of you that just don't would rather not have too much flavor in your beer, I think these beers might interest you. So I may share with you about 8, 9, 10 lagers that I've had that I really enjoy having, not just with pizza and with the typical thing, but sometimes by itself, and they're very enjoyable, and some of them actually have some unique flavors of its own, even though they're all lagers with light flavors. So, what's a more appropriate lager to start off with than a Japanese lager? One of my favorites is Kirin Ichiban. Now, let me pronounce that again. It's Kirin Ichiban. If you want to pronounce it properly, that's fine. You could say Kirin Ichiban, whatever, that's fine with me. This is their really famous logo. It's called a Kirin, which translates as giraffe. But the picture you see here is not a giraffe. It's a type of mythical dragon creature. I don't know where it derives from. Probably somewhere around maybe China or old Japan. But anyways, Japan has a lot of beers, and Japan has really expanded in the as far as microbrews go. It's very much underground, but it is pretty active. But out of all the Japanese lagers, at least the standard ones, this is my favorite one. And my reason behind it is that it has the most flavor. Because other ones like Sapporo, that's very light, drinkable. If you like it, that's fine. I find that most Westerners, mainly Americans, really like Asahi Super Dry. They just like that dryness that they get from maybe from the wheat from Japan. And another thing that I'll bring up is that a lot of the lagers, the reason why they have different flavors is because the barley and the wheat that they use are grown from those different countries, and they each have their different flavors because of that. And it's also to pair with their cuisine. So, for some reason, Japanese beer goes well with Japanese food. Indian lagers go with Indian curry, and Chinese beers go well with dim sum. All that kind of stuff. So, anyways, this is my favorite. With this one, I will be pouring it in a glass halfway, and I'll be drinking it from the can. Because at least with this one that I've had, I think it tastes better in the can. I don't know why. Sometimes certain beers taste better in the bottle, can, than pouring it. But I'll still be pouring it so you could see what it looks like. Okay, so here's Kirin. And the reason why this has more flavor is because they put more hops in. For the average Japanese beer drinker, it's too hoppy. It's too much flavor. so here you go. It's a very light yellow color, not as light as Sapporo, but here it is. Yeah, it's stronger in the aroma, and I doubt that they use Japanese rice grain in this. If so, then I'll put it on the sidebar. Otherwise, I'm sure they make it the same way. But it just has a really unique smell to it that I haven't found in other lagers. And when you have it, it's like, ugh, it kind of has a weird kuse to it. Yeah, it has a, I think has a slight citrusiness to it. Definitely smell the hops. It's not a weak lager for sure. Yeah, it has a nice flavor to it. Yeah, it has some citrusiness, and has some flavor. Now, I'll try in the can with this one and see if there's much difference. Yeah, I don't know why. Maybe it's psychological, I have no idea, but I could taste more of the beer from this can. And it's not fruity, but it just the hops are more noticeable when drinking from this can. Now in the bottle, probably be better if you put in a pint glass. But I don't know. I enjoy it more in the can, and that's just my thing. Some people may prefer it in the pint. It's a very good beer. It doesn't say what the ABV is here, but I'm guessing it's between 4 and 5% alcohol by volume. Okay, well, that's the end of this lager for this lager series, and I'll see you for the next lager, and hope you enjoy it.